I still hear the sound, that sharp, humiliating crack across my baby's cheek, echoing louder than the Christmas music playing behind it. The room froze. My son's cry pierced through the tinsel-hung quiet, and my sister's voice, dripping with that familiar condescension, slithered in right after, "Relax. You're overreacting. Overreacting." As if the sting on my child's face were nothing more than a sibling disagreement. As if she hadn't crossed a line she'd mocked for years. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't rise. But something inside me, something old and patient, shifted into place. I didn't even need to speak, because beside me, my husband pushed back his chair with a force that made every fork pause midair. A quiet scrape of wood against tile, followed by a silence that swallowed the entire room. He looked my sister dead in the eye and said 2 words, "Get out." And she did. She never came back. But this isn't a story about that moment. It's the story of everything that led to it, and why she deserved far more than being escorted out of Christmas dinner. We were close once, my sister and I, or maybe I was just naive enough to believe we were. She was older, sharper, the one who taught me how to braid hair, how to drive, how to lie to our parents when she wanted freedom and I wanted her approval. She loved control. I mistook it for leadership. When I got married, she smiled for photos but tightened at the edges, like her territory had been invaded. When I had my son, she held him with stiff arms, as if acknowledging he existed cost her something. Still, I kept trying. That was my mistake. She didn't start with hitting him. No, she started with comments. "He's too clingy. He's spoiled. You baby him too much. You're turning into mom." Every time she said it, I smiled, deflected, chose peace. But her eyes always watched for the flinch, the weakness, the submission. That was her sport. The real shift came when she criticized my mothering in front of others. She liked an audience, and when I didn't react, she escalated. Until Christmas. Until that slap. But that moment wasn't her downfall. It was just the trigger that allowed me to act on what I'd already known for months. She wasn't just cruel. She was becoming dangerous. So I stopped being her sister in that moment. I became her reckoning. People think anger drives revenge. It doesn't. Anger is too loud, too sloppy. Revenge requires clarity. After the first signs she resented my son, her own nephew, I began paying attention. I documented every comment, every boundary she violated, every time she tried to undermine me with our parents. Patterns formed. Motives sharpened. I mapped her like a military target before my husband ever stepped in. She depended on reputation. She depended on being the strong one, the funny one, the honest one who tells it like it is. She never expected the quiet one, me, to outmaneuver her. The first step was emotional distance. She noticed. She panicked. Then came the second. I stopped confiding in her. She dug. She pried. She gossiped to fill the silence I left. Then the third. I started correcting her lies calmly, publicly, using her own words. Not aggressively. Just fact-checking her in real time. People laughed at first. Then they stopped laughing. Her confidence cracked. The fourth step was cleanest, my parents. I never bad-mouthed her. I simply told them I was uncomfortable with her around my son and gave one specific example each time they asked. Just one. Simple. Irrefutable. My parents started noticing her tone, her impatience, her bitterness. The final step came when she began baiting me to react. She needed me to blow up so she could play the victim. But I never gave her the scene she wanted. I saved the scene for Christmas. She slapped my son because he dropped a spoon. That was her justification. A spoon. My baby's cry clawed at my chest, but I didn't let rage touch my voice. I just reached for him, gently, while she rolled her eyes like I had staged the injury. "You're overreacting," she said. And that was when my husband, my calm, disciplined, military-trained husband, stood. He'd seen the months of buildup. He'd seen me take the high road until the asphalt ran out. He knew this was the boundary that would not be crossed. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He didn't explain himself. "Get out," he said. 2 words that ended a lifetime of her dominance. She looked around, waiting for someone to defend her. No one moved, not even our parents. Her face twisted, searching for control she no longer had access to. She grabbed her coat, muttering half-formed protests. But my husband didn't blink. And she couldn't withstand a stare that steady, that certain. She left. And with her, she took the version of me she could bully. People talk about grief after cutting off family. I felt none. Instead, I felt air, cleaner than I'd ever breathed. My son healed. My marriage strengthened. My parents learned to stop making excuses for her. As for her, she stayed gone. Not because we pushed her out, but because she couldn't bear facing a version of me she could no longer break. Revenge, I learned, isn't always a grand spectacle. Sometimes it's a quiet room, a stunned silence, and a woman finally standing up from the ashes someone else tried to bury her in. Sometimes revenge is simply never letting them back in.